Experiment, explore, enjoy.
Hello, Gur. We are here at Tiptop Audio.
Yes, you are.
It's Superbooth 2024.
Who could believe, huh? Time flies. Yeah, so first, thank you for coming and visiting us here. And I'll be happy to show you what we came up with this year. And it's basically a continuous work from previous years as we been working on both new Buchla and Tiptop audio modules and more Tiptop audios, mainly the art system and the polyphonic modules. And yeah, let me show you some of the new stuff in here. So first, we finished the production of Vortex 6, Octopass, Octostages, and Octogain. These are the polyphonic modules, and they're actually going to be shipping within a week or two after Superbooth. They are ready, as well as the Polytip patch cables. For those who are not familiar with what these are fully polyphonic modules inside Eurorack. They are driven with control signals via ART. ART is a signal that we have developed that we have released this year, and you start gaining momentum. And the audio is passing through the Polytip cables, which are passing multiple signals at once, because regular patch cables are unable to do that. So right now what you see here, for example, is Vortex 6, which is a PPG Wave oscillator, and you got the audio out sending 6 audio signals into the Octopass, which is an SSM 2144 analog filter going into the envelope, which is a polyphonic OBX, original OBX chips analog filter, and Octogain, which is another vintage style VCA, and coming out. And this is, as I said, going to start shipping very soon. And with the polyphonic, as we work more and more with it, we develop how powerful things can turn. So we start adding more utilities. So we created like this module. It's called the M. M stands for Mult. And all it really is a Polytip Mult, 5 connections. So here I'm going from the envelope into the Mult, and from the Mult I'm going into both the VCA and the filter at the same time, so I have control from one envelope over these 2 parameters. Then we develop Octovert. We can see it down here. And Octovert is invert, scale, and offset, because we know how powerful inverting a signal, CV signal or audio signal with monophonic voices is. So just imagine how powerful it is when you do it polyphonically. So again, this is the attenuverter. This is the offset knob. It actually has CV control for both of them, so you can even control them, which is something that usually you won't find with monophonic inversion. And the 2 polytips, the in and the out. And then probably the bigger thing here is a project that we're working on a long time, and is, in my opinion, is a very serious technological achievement, and that is Triax 8. Triax 8 is an analog, fully analog polyphonic oscillator. It has 16 true analog oscillator. We're not talking about DCOs, emulations, or anything like that. This is the real thing. It has ART input. It has all the VCOs output individually or on polytips, as you can see here. It has gate outs for each of the VCOs, so you can patch it, again, through discrete voices, or you can patch it like we have it here, through Octopass, Octostages, and through Octogain. And this thing just sounds so great that when I'm using it in the lab, I'm finding myself using it for too many hours and I'm not working. So it can be a problem, but it's just so good.
So we've got a bit of a patch, like kind of set up. What are we? Can we listen to that? And what is it that we're listening to?
Yeah. So let's hear first. Let's listen to Triax. So let's see if I. Okay. So immediately as you hit a note on this thing, it's just it comes out really beautiful and really big. The oscillator in this thing are designed by Dave Rossum and his colleagues at SSI, and those who knows Dave Rossum knows that this is a very serious scientist. And when we designed that stuff, we realized we can make, we can really get it to its best performance with going all the way in, not cutting corner, not trying to make it cheap. We didn't think about cost. Now, obviously, we don't want it to cost, a lot of money, but we want it to be as best as it can be. So I think, when you're one of the nicest thing about it is that it has a linear FM with through zero. So you can add FM and it won't break the sound. It will do what FM's supposed to do in most cases, and that to add harmonic and change the waveforms. So you can hear how without FM the sound is. And then if I add the FM, sound starts getting change the source of the FM. We go all drastic with it. And we can obviously go auto-tune with that, so get more. So it can make beautiful pads, beautiful bass drum. It can make anything that, classic vintage analog synths can do, but can do so much more than that. It's really hard to describe. And we're super excited about it, and what we love the most, of course, is that in a modular format, so we can patch. There's a lot of patch points here. For example, you can control polyphony, the level of each of the waveforms, and there's plenty of waveforms over here. As you can see, you can control velocity. You can take velocity out of this and control other things. You can control the FM. Again, this is the FM index, and you can control it in a polyphonic way. There's just plenty of ways. There's portamento for each of the oscillators. Lots of stuff. Really, really stunning sound. I love analog sound, so it's what can I tell? I'm biased, right?
So is it kind of production ready? Where are you in the cycle?
Yeah, we are very close. I think it's going to go to production probably with the coming weeks. It's going to be available, I would say, in the coming months, maybe 2-3 months, maybe 4. I'm always optimistic, and then people tell me like, why are you telling dates that are, don't really happen? And because I'm optimistic, so I'm trying to. Yeah, but probably I would say 3 to 4 months, and we want to get this released. So this really complements very well the digital sound, which is Vortex. Vortex 6 is a PPG, 8-bit sound. Maybe let's see if it's... And again, when you have those two in a system, it's just beautiful because it's like glass and concrete. How those two materials are mixed together. So right now, Vortex 6, for example, is driven from our art quantizer, which is the guy over here, sets to E minor, and it's driven by the Z8000 analog sequencer. So it's the reason I'm showing that is so users can understand that art is not pushing aside older modules. It's fully integrated with them. So you can see a fully polyphonic, top of the line technology for modular, speaking with a Z1000, which was generally made, I think, 10 years ago or something, and they work really well together. And of course, things are in tune. So this is what's going on in this section. And then if we're moving, let me turn this down a little bit. If we're moving to this section, this is where, for the first time, we are showing complete Buchla system, Buchla and Tiptop Audio 200T systems. This system is going to be offered later this year as well. They are made with this fake wood, mantis. First time we made it, we were like, are you joking me? But the second time we look at it and say, this is actually looking pretty cool. And now I must say that we really like how it looks. It's like what, like mahogany or like fancy wood. But the important thing is the vintage feel of a system. And
so is this the system that you're going to be offering then, all of these exact modules?
No, so that's the point. The thing is, as we make more modules, system will change. But we will offer the system of that moment with the modules that are available at that moment, unless those modules are really coming close, and then they will be released even in system before they are going to be released separately. But that's going to be a rare case. But in this specific system, what we're seeing, which is going to be new for most users, is the 259. And that's a programmable complex waveform generator. What everybody knows as a complex oscillator. That's the original complex
one, yeah, exactly.
That's the original one, yeah. And it got all the bells and the whistles Don Buchla put into that thing. And we have a good friend of ours that has a 259 original one, and he got this model from us, and when he compared it, he just says it's unbelievable how accurate it sounds. So we are very happy with the result. But one interesting fact about the 259 is that if you look on the back of a 259, you will see that about 50% of the electronics in there is actually not working on the original. And the reason for that is that when Don created that, he created an auto-tuning circuit into the 259, and that was, at least from the rumors, supposed to be driven by a 300 series computer. We are talking about pre-MIDI, pre-anything, so this is like ancient technology. So he was really a pioneer, as usual, and he was the first to try and communicate digital with the analog and put things in tune. So for us, it's really, the synergy is amazing because we have developed art, and art is basically an auto-tuning system. And when we did the 259, it was just like, all we had to do is turn on the circuit, the switch. And now the 259 has, if you look here, you basically can select if you want it to work in art mode or in regular 1V octave mode. And the thing sounds wonderful because it can be a total crazy noise machine, or it can be a beautiful synth sound that is in tune with everything else in the system. Now, the goal of art is to be able to have a lot of voices playing well together. So if I'm standing on a live stage and I'm opening a sound, I want to make sure it plays well with my other sounds in it. And this all now starts getting very integrated, and for us it's really a dream come true because art is something we've been thinking about for many, many years. Obviously, Don Buchla thought about it way before us, and now we've been able to really connect the whole thing together. When it's going to be available, you see, you don't need to ask the question.
Anticipating my question. Yeah. I mean, you're a professional. We've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah. So the 259, this is a prototype, but it's final stage prototype. When I'm getting back from Superbooth, I'm going to build what I hope, please, that is going to be the last prototype. And if all goes well, then we are talking about probably the winter to have it ready. Price tag, I'm not sure. We are thinking anywhere from between 450 to up to 600. That's going to be somewhere in that range. Of course, depends on the availability of parts, prices of parts at that time, and all. That's usual stuff. But yeah, we're doing our best to try and make it as affordable as possible. Last here is the 285. The 285 is a frequency shifter, an analog frequency shifter, and a balance modulator, also known as a ring modulator. It's an interesting beast because it's not something that you use on a daily basis in a synthesizer. Some people use it in kind of like planned manner where they know they want to increase the frequency content of hi-hats, for example, without changing the pitch of a whole track and things like that. That is how it's usually used in digital world. But here, at least for me, I just throw whatever I got into it, and it makes all kind of weird sounds and surprises. So it's really cool for sound design. Yeah, it's an interesting module. Inside of it, at the heart, is an analog multiplier chip, and that was kind of hard to recreate because that chip is not longer available. Luckily, there's still one company in the world that makes a similar chip with slightly better specs and sell it. So we were able to kind of pretty much put that one in for the other one, and it worked well almost from the start. The thing has its own internal oscillator, which is called the reference. You can see it here. And there's also a switch that lets you select if you want the reference or an external oscillator, for example, 258, to modulate internally. So there's a lot of variations in it. Again, it's a super noise machine, and that's cool. I'm saying it in a positive way. Yeah, what else we got here?
We've got a bit of a patch here as well, right? You're going to get your colleague in to kind of demo some of that.
Yes.
So should we hear some of the
Sure.
Buchla
So
stuff?
I will hand you over to Piero, who will demo this. And